Hey there, Derek here from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan, and we're looking at a 2006 Suzuki Swift Sport. And do keep in mind, the Suzuki Swift Sport is a fairly different model from the regular Swift, and I'll get into that in a second. 1.6 liter engine, 5-speed manual, 91,000 kilometers on this one. Bought from auction here in Japan by us, and is going to be exported over to Canada, which is going to be nice to see. These Suzuki Swifts, so much of a better car than you think that they are, and we'll get into that in this video. There you can see 91,000 kilometers. Switch the engine off for the rest of the report. And yeah, we're basically just looking at the condition of the car before we send it off so that you know what you bought. The engine, super peach of an engine. I adore these engines, and I didn't really get it until I drove one. And you know, I've got a lot of experience driving different cars, probably in the several hundreds of different cars I've driven. I was pleasantly surprised by this, and I do think it's one of the all-time great 1.6s, which is weird to say because it's only 125 horsepower. But it's an engine that feels good both at low RPM and at high RPM, and I find these smaller four-cylinders tend to either pick one or the other. Like a B6T tends to be like no power, no power, no power. VTEC kicks in, and here we go. And I don't always like that. I like it if I'm driving fast all the time, but I'm not always driving fast. And something that's got a good, nice torque curve like this, and like our Lupo GTI over there, also 1.6 and 125 horsepower. Good engines. I think this is a better engine than the Lupo though. Lupo's more torquey at low RPM and less powerful at higher RPM. I mean, the stock one is, not ours. Ours has been modified. Close the hood off, quick look at the car, and great condition, all things considered. There's only a few blemishes on the car here and there, and I'm very happy with the condition of it. So let's first go over the auction inspection sheet. This is the information given to us from the auction. And it's all written in Japanese, so I'll just translate it here. It's a 2006 Swift Sport Limited, 1600cc, auction rated 4, interior B, power steering, power windows, airbag, 91,085 kilometers, toll collection box, original Recaro seats, and yeah, they were an option, but I think they were original on the limited version of it, and then optional on the regular version. They're a very cool looking seat. They're a little bit narrow for any big boys that want to drive one of these. And then it says original aero. I'm a little bit confused. The car came with a bunch of parts over here, including the original aero parts. It has like front spats. You can see they're gray. And they're always gray. Like if you bought a red one, you'd get gray spats. You still have the gray on the side skirt there. But the front bumper's been changed over to what I believe to be a Suzuki optional front end. Because it does have the fit and finish of an OEM part that's on there, which is nice to see. And I do prefer the look of this over the standard one. Okay. And then the report section says driver's seat saggy and ripped, and these seats rip pretty commonly from what I've seen. The design of them, they're Recaros. I don't know why. Recaro, you're a seat maker. How about you make some seats that don't rip after 10 or 15 years? I don't think it would be that hard. Anyway. Door trim scratched and dirty, steering wheel wear, interior slightly dirty, headlights are cloudy, various scratches, dents, and touch-up paint on the car. And repair part, there's been a repainted section over here. Then front bumper scuff, and then just very minor things like an A1 scratch, U1 dent. All of those level 1 are all going to be so minor you can barely see them, and as such, I didn't really see them. Just the touch-up paint, it's really the only blemish on the car, and there's like 1, 2, 3, maybe a couple more than that. So I'll take you for a tour around here. And the Suzuki Swift, cool little car. They're bigger than the old Swift. This is the what they call the first generation, even though there was a Swift in Canada and the USA that came before this one. That one wasn't called the Swift here in Japan. It was called the Cultus. And so it is a different model, but still kind of the same. It's a tiny little hatchback. In this case, though, they put all of their eggs into this basket. Suzuki is basically a K car manufacturer. and they do barely anything outside of K-cars. They're by far the biggest K-car manufacturer here in Japan and have the most popular models, even competing against basically everyone else. This is this and basically the Jimny Sierra, which is a K car as well in its roots. They're the only like non-K cars that they even sell here. And boy, did they make a great car here. And I got to mention about the engine. This is going to be a little bit of a slow part if you're not a nerd like me, but the engine, I just read up on this. I didn't know. Forged pistons in it. In a Suzuki Swift, forged pistons. And then it also has strengthened valve springs, so you can rev it up a lot higher than a typical engine can handle. What else did it have? There's a bunch of like sporty-ish things that were done to this engine where the normal 1.6 didn't get all of that. And it feels really good to drive. I'm very, very happy that I got a chance to drive this, especially in such a small car. And in Canada, you're going to be ripping around, go around corners faster than anyone else can in this tiny little car, and people will be scratching their heads, what's going on? I will say it's not fast. 125 horsepower isn't fast, but it does feel good to drive. So we've got all that. Let's go now for some of the body damages on it. So first off, we have front and rear badges. Both have some fade in them. There's a touched up rock chip here and here. Headlights are faded, and there's a little bit of cracking and a finish on them, but it looks like they can definitely be restored without replacing them. This body seam here, you can see the clip points. It's not that far off though. It's actually very close to being proper. It might have taken, so like this part here of any car gets stressed anytime you hit under here, which happens on a lowered car. And speaking of which, the sport version of it gets lowered suspension, hardened suspension, bigger bumpers, the Recaro seats inside, a bunch of stuff like that. I guess it's akin to like the Type R version of the Civic, but not quite. It's maybe about 60% there. A little bit of touch-up paint right here. This is all gorgeous. Touch-up paint here. The back, all gorgeous. The dual exhaust, that's a Swift Sport only thing. And I love the way that the exhaust pipes are housed inside the rear valve. Very good look. Of course, it's a hatchback, so you can practically use it. Not the biggest seats in the back, nor trunk space, but you know, you want that, you buy a different car. This side here, again, all looking super clean. The paint condition is good. It really looks like a car that somebody kept well, which is nice to see because these small cars like this, they're usually owned by somebody who's a little bit younger, a little bit less experience with cars, a little bit less care in keeping something in good condition compared to, say, something like that or whatever that orange car is in the back. Good to see when someone's actually taking care of the car. We'll look now at the interior. And so trunk, not huge. It's about that big. And it's no spare tire in this. Instead, you get a puncture kit. And foldable seats, it's a 60-40 split. Or maybe a 70-30 split. Tonneau board is in fine condition. Close this off. Back seats, probably best for kids. You can fit an adult in if you move the front seats a little forward. So basically it's like a 3 adult car. Definitely not the worst. We're not talking about 1986 Toyotas. But it is a little bit tight. Love the two-tone red and black seats. It's a very good looking interior here. And you get a lot of room up above, and you get a lot of room side to side. It's just not a lot of leg room. And part of that might be due to the pretty chonky seats in here, which, have a look. You get a side airbag in the seats. And this is cool, like small car, right? Side airbag in the seats, B-pillar airbag, A-pillar airbag, and this is 2006, right? And then the regular 2 airbags here and here. Okay, headliner's has been cleaned. It has that like marks in it, like an extractor machine has kind of pulled the fabric a little bit. Not a terrible thing. These are also the things that I'm only noticing after I've been looking at cars for 15 plus years. Again, door cards, a good look with the red striping there that matches the seats. This brushed aluminum looking plastic. Okay. Steering wheel looking great considering the 91,000 kilometers. And then the seats here, excellent looking seats. And I did mention they are a little on the tight side, but if you don't have a big butt, it's going to feel great. If you do have a big butt, you might have to get some different seats. Now the auction sheet said there's a rip in the seat. You can actually wormhole all the way through here. And the reason why is because, like, in order to keep these bolsters firm, they have a bar inside. It's just like the Honda Beat has a bar like that. And the EK9's Type R seats, also made by Recaro, same problem. And so there's a hole there, a little bit of sagginess in it, and then a little bit of threadbare section there. The actual seat itself is fine. The seat feels great while you're sitting in it, and you can't notice the rip or the sagginess. But when you get in and out, your leg's probably going to hit there as you get in and out, and you'll notice that then. Floor mats are good. Steering wheel good. Dashboard good. Well, the section where the airbag comes out can be clearly seen, and I don't think it's supposed to be like that. Okay, love a car this clean after 15 years, especially an entry-level car. 5-speed manual, it's a good feeling shifter. The clutch is a little light, like I prefer my clutch to be a little heavier than that. It's not bad though. Yeah, feels fine to shift. A couple of cup holders here, a slot to put your things, very simple HVAC, and a CD player. Okay. That's going to be pretty much it for this little car. And yeah, a little something to get excited about. I like these. That's going to be all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day.